but still I love my enemies.
Hi everyone, it's Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 19, live fan reactions. So, we're going to jump into tonight's episode and talk about a little bit of the transition for The Walking Dead. They're setting up the final few episodes. A lot to really dig into tonight with the story. It did feel a little bit more like The Walking Dead tonight, and with a little bit of, the burnt families and the torture and kind of the decision making of good versus evil. The bad guys are good and the good guys are bad, and then how far people will go, I guess, in a zombie apocalypse. There was some, you know what? Let me do this because you guys know we're completely kind of unfiltered here with our Walking Dead analysis. So I'm going to ask you guys before we get too far into it. Tonight's episode, if you had to rate it from a 1 to a 10, just go ahead and type your numbers in stream right now. And I just want to see what people thought about it. And again, if you guys could, different shows mean different things to different people. So if you're really, really hungry for The Walking Dead, Julia, 9? Really, a 9? Come on now. I was a 8 early. I was an 8 early because I liked the kind of you could feel hungry like they were. You could feel the search was going on. They were getting closer and closer. And then we got to the Russian roulette. So I started at an 8. Sadly, I ended up at about a 7. Ended up at about a 7. Good. Still not Walking Dead great. Still not knocking it out of the park. However, we've struggled. So, and I'll tell you, first of all, we've gotten personal shout-outs from both Seth Gilliam and Ross Marquand. So they did a video and said, hey, just want to shout out the 999 Army. So they're two of my favorite just by default because they kind of know who we are and we're fans of them. So when I saw the two of them were in an episode, I do like them. So I'm always going to kind of skew the numbers a little bit. And I like the walking. I figured there would be some humor with these two. Ross is extremely funny. So when Father G tripped in the mud and we had that scene, it was good chemistry. So I'm like, this is going to be kind of The Walking Dead. There's going to be some good moments, going to be some silly moments, and then, something major is going to go down. I thought it was interesting that people have said Dwayne Jones is back and Dwayne Jones. And then a week after we see Elijah, they put a Easter egg in there with some whiskey that says Dwayne Jones. So I thought that was clever. Kind of a neat way of basically telling everybody, like, we know that you thought Elijah was Dwayne, and here's your Dwayne Jones. So I thought kind of clever writing to that point. Where I thought it went downhill was the primal scream, the primal laughter. So when we got to the point of the boar, and I had about 60 seconds of, as much as I love Seth, 60 seconds of his laughing was a little much. Was a little much for that moment. Like, I didn't feel that we needed that much kind of relief. And then the drunk Father G doubting his faith, we've seen that before. And we've seen that out of him before. So I didn't like the fact that we went back and we're kind of recycling something that they've already done in the show. So I don't need at this point to see Father G questioning his faith. And he became a wild card again. The Russian roulette game, I don't know how Aaron pulls the trigger there. Once you get 50-50, and I know it's part of the story, but we want to analyze how well the story's done. So I think 90% of the audience was thinking, look, when he's looking at Father G and Aaron's got that gun in his hand, why doesn't he just attack him and beat him with the gun or something? Or pull the trigger like 3 times, just like bam, 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 bam. Squeeze it like 3 times until you get a shot off. So, I thought the Russian roulette was clever. And then Father G, the story of, they're twins and one's chained up and then he's got to sit there and look at his family every day. And we don't know how long that's been going on. I mean, that's a lot of torture. You just basically chain your brother up so he can just sit there and look at his dead family. That's pretty vile. Now, the one thing that I did think was good was that we did get to see closure to it. Because, too often we're caught in the middle between should we have saved them, should we not have saved them. So, and I thought Robert Patrick did a great job. But Mays basically had this breakdown and said, okay, you're thinking at that moment that Mays could join them. So what would have happened? If they would have taken Mays back, then Mays' brother would have just starved to death. So they didn't know he was held hostage. So I guess it was sort of redemption for Father G. It shows that, all right, well, he killed this person, but there was no redemption. This person was just going to be bad. And then we kind of got to find out post-mortem, like after Father G killed him, we found out like, okay, he did the right thing because this guy would have just been a problem. Maybe he wasn't a problem right there. Clearly, he wasn't in a clear state of mind. But let me say this. The reason I started at 8 and I dropped it down to a 7 was because it was just more of these are becoming short stories. And I don't like The Walking Dead as a short story. And let me ask you guys. Are you guys, and appreciate that. It's good seeing a lot of you guys back. Awesome. And I'm going to call on a couple of you guys. I think what I'm struggling with the most with The Walking Dead right now is, remember how Fear 2 years ago started a story and then everything happened and then it was kind of like a clean slate at the end of it? And one of the things we all talked about, our frustration, was, wow, why can't Fear develop a villain? Or why can't Fear link something from one episode to the next, to the next, to the next? Now, in fairness, I'm going to say this. Fear has done that this season. Maybe to the extreme. Maybe there's too much. And I think the good thing about Walking Dead through the years is they didn't make you wait too long, but they didn't tell the story too quickly. Does that make sense to you guys? It's almost like if episode 3 comes out, you're going to get 4 and 5 and 6 are going to kind of enhance that a little bit. And then 7 is going to be the end of maybe one part of it and then the beginning of another part of it. So what Walking Dead seems to be doing right now is starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping. And the problem is it's hard to follow because we got the first week we were back, we got this dude that blows himself up and says, the Pope has marked you. Okay? So we know the Pope is out there. That's good. The episode I don't think was good, but that's good. All right, so then we get last week with Daryl, and we've got, well, where's Leah? I mean, maybe she's out there. And then tonight was kind of, who is this person? Why is this stuff there? And then next week we get Commonwealth, and so we get another story. So the Pope, does the Pope know Leah? Are they anywhere related or tied into this guy? And are all of them tied into... That's the part I'm struggling with. You know, when it was the Whispers, it was the Whispers. When it was Saviors, it was the Saviors. To me, it just seems like they're trying to do a little bit too much. Now, I do have to think, though, that Leah is part of this Reaper group. So, yeah, I feel like she might be tied in. Now, if they have a Daryl versus Leah, then that would be kind of cool if we see her later on. But look at what we've got. I mean, this is why it's way too many loose ends. Rick's gone. Group doesn't know where Rick is, right? Michonne's gone. Group doesn't know where Michonne is. Leah's gone. They don't know where Leah is. So we got all these stories waiting to happen. Eugene and Ezekiel, they're gone. So everybody's just split up, and they got no means to communicate with each other. Maggie's back. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as what I just painted for you guys, because I think once they start tying some loose ends, there's some good stuff. Connie is gone. Exactly. There's another one. Connie's gone. So we're going to get there, but I just wish that they didn't get us so far out there before they get us back. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Saviors 007 says they could be doing 6 episodes of Walking Dead, leading us up to a big season. I don't doubt that at all. I think by the time we finish out these 6 episodes, and I think by the time we get into season 11, it's going to be incredible. I do, without a doubt, I think season 11 is going to be amazing, because I know that Angela Kang has the ability to tell a good story. I don't know that these 6 stories are, well, they're not very good. So I think that they took what could have been the season premiere in season 11, and they chopped it up and made it into 6 long, drawn-out episodes just to give us some Walking Dead. This is like, hey, pandemic Walking Dead, we know you're hungry for it. Watch this episode, and we're going to give you a whole lot of extra instead of the action. Because I do feel like there's a lot of extra filler in these episodes. You know, Eric, it certainly could be. But, you know, I think we kind of thought that with the Whispers. But, yeah, I mean, it's something to talk about. You know, could Father G get his comic death, but with the Reapers instead? Will, been disappointed with Fear off and on, but Fear does that, but The Walking Dead doesn't. They are ridiculous right now. I know it was kind of blasphemy last week when I said it, but I don't feel like these episodes are very well done. But I think when we get to the final episode and a half, I think it'll be very well done. But I am looking forward to Fear more than I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Doesn't next week's episode, okay, let me do this. I'm going to kind of plant a seed here. Did next week's episode give you a little bit of like that Terminus feel? Or was it just me? Didn't it feel like, hey, Terminus again, boxcar, locked up? I know these guys aren't cannibals, but it did kind of give you a little bit of that creepy boxcar vibe. Now, one can only hope that it's good. You know, Kitten, I don't disagree with that. Kitten says, I still can't get into Fear. Lord knows I tried. So let me give you guys kind of like my Fear overview. First of all, I'm always going to watch it. I'm in far enough that I keep current with it. And every once in a while, they do hit a good episode. But, I mean, June. Well, what? Here you go. Here's a question for you guys. Maybe this is a riddle. What's the difference between June and Father G? I mean, Father G just smashed Maze over the head and killed him. June had Jenny dead to rights, and she could have ran away, and she didn't. June and John could have ran away, but she saved Jenny for some reason when she had her right there. And Father G's a priest and June's a doctor. Yeah, you know what? Daryl, I agree. I mean, that was certainly a Rick Grimes type of move. Out of the blue, just bam. But Colton, I think that's a good observation. Father G is, well, see, here's the thing, okay? They set up that move really good. How many people caught this? So we see Father G as this faith, God-fearing person. But I thought they did a good job tonight because Maze asked him, he's like, why do you wear that? And he said it was to remind that people are good. So at this point, I don't know that we're supposed to think that Father G is full of faith or is religious. Because, look, he gambled, he drank, he murdered. I mean, they're showing him basically as the cloth is a costume. And not something that we should look beyond it. I think we expect too much out of his character in that role. But certainly tonight looked like he was just wearing the garb and he was not believing what he was talking about. He seemed to kind of use God in order to get himself out of a bad situation. So again, I don't think he's any different. I think that the costume might, other than being extremely lucky with Russian roulette, do you think it's possible that he also wears it to almost like armor? That if he were to run into somebody like Maze, that immediately he gets a little bit of a pass? Because, I mean, hey, who wants to kill a priest? So maybe he sees it as like his big defense mechanism to buy him a little bit more time. I mean, it's not like he's giving sermons or anything. Anybody can wear a costume. So, the one thing that is a little bit disappointing, and I know, it's good seeing a lot of you guys again. Some of the questions come up is bold predictions or, we doing recap streams. I can tell you that our reaction stream on Sunday night pretty much encompasses everything that's going on with The Walking Dead right now. And I know some of you might be looking for 4 or 5 streams. I'm just being transparent with you guys. There isn't that much stuff to talk about with The Walking Dead. And we can dig down into tonight's story and the bigger picture. But the reality of it is, look, tonight was a 2-person episode. They're following a map. They go to a building, doesn't have what they want. They see people that were tortured and burnt. And then they keep walking. One person wants to go, another person doesn't. They stumble upon a shed, get a free dinner, have a few drinks, play a little poker, pass out. Aaron gets knocked out. Maze comes along, makes them play Russian roulette. By the way, they only had a 33% chance left because they dodged 4 bullets, 4 opportunities. And then we find out that Maze was a maniac who tortured his brother. And they bring closure because this is kind of, I like to look at it like this. What would have happened? And this is where I think there is beauty and poetic justice sometimes in The Walking Dead. And sometimes they hit it and it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So tonight, I do think it worked. If you're into short episodes that tells a short story. I don't love that, but the poetic nature of tonight was not lost on me. Because I like to think if Aaron would have gotten his way to Father G and they would have left and went back. And I hate to say it, but tonight, the beauty of tonight's episode, and you know what? You know what I'm going to do? Actually, I had a change of heart. I'm going to give tonight's episode a 7.5 instead of a 7. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the religious connotation and the tie-ins about faith and destiny, okay? So, Father G wants to go forward, Aaron does not. Miraculously, he trips, okay? Divine intervention makes him trip in the mud. What happens when he trips in the mud? The map gets dirty. So the map gets dirty. Aaron says, let's go back. Father G says, okay, let's follow our prince. And what happens? God makes it rain. Okay? They can't follow their tracks back. So they have to keep moving forward. Because he tripped, because it rained, now it takes them to the shed. Unbeknownst to them, there is a man that is chained up and tortured and can't die. His punishment is to be chained up and look at his dead family. He can't even leave it. So these 2 strangers in the middle of nowhere just happen to show up. All the things play out. And May says, I use the pages of the Bible to wipe my ass. So it's just blasphemous. It's just mocking God. And then we get into that. We should read it. And he goes, I've read it from cover to cover, and that's why I do it. So like the ultimate in blasphemy. So, what does God do to punish Mays? He beats the odds in a game of Russian roulette. They go 4 chambers without either one of them dying. And when Aaron's getting ready to pull the trigger on the 4th chamber, Mays says, stop. At that point, Father G has gotten his message. Now, we're watching this saying, don't kill him. Mays can go back. There's redemption for Mays. But if they don't kill him, then Mays' brother is stuck up there to die until he starves to death. So he's got even more pain he has to go through. So as they're leaving, they say, wait a minute. He heard everything we said. So then they find out the secret attic room. If they don't find the room, the ending never happens. And his brother pulls the gun and finishes his own life so he doesn't have to be tortured anymore or live with that torture. Now, you can debate that however you want. Dude takes his own life, but emotionally and psychologically, would he have ever been able to recover? I mean, he's got a long beard, his hair's scruffy, so it just kind of worked out. So in this little bit of an episode that maybe we saw what we saw, I do think that there was some pretty deep writing that they went into tonight. So, you know what? With that being said, now that I've had a chance to really analyze tonight's episode a little bit more, I'll raise my score to a 7.5. It would have been higher if it wasn't a one-show episode. I'm just, I guess, one-show episode. You know what I mean? Like a one-episode start and finish telling the story. I would like to have seen something a little bit like, if this Mays is somehow in with the Pope, if Mays was part of that group and there was just something that you could tie to in the future, to me that would have been a little bit better. But yeah, I guess I actually got a little bit more entertainment out of it than I thought. Still not Walking Dead worthy. You know, at this point, I need to see 8s and 9s. I need to see something consistently. You know, here we are, 3 episodes in, and I don't think any of them really hit it out of the park. Yeah, I agree, Jonathan, and I think that was the point. The point was, it was an obvious filler episode. It was to tell a deep religious story. There was some spirituality in it. And I think they, this was about 5 minutes worth of story that they made into a deeper story. And I think they did the best they could with it. I still don't think it was great. I thought it was good enough. But no, there was no bigger picture. There was no tie-in to the story. Bunch of filler with a deep spiritual connotation. Oh, they could. But Jonathan, there's no doubt that, and if you guys just tuned in, you might have missed like my initial introduction when I said that I think all 6 of these episodes are the best pieces from season 11 premiere, and they're split up to make 6 episodes. There's no doubt about it that it's a ton of filler. Tonight was 5 minutes worth of content and about 35 minutes worth of extras, not including commercials. And you know what? I mean, that's a good point, Daryl. And it's like, how much did we really need to watch to find out what Gabriel's new MO is? You know, I don't disagree with that either. And I know people don't want to hear that The Walking Dead after 11 seasons, but it's really hard for them to, well, it's really hard to tell a new story. You can't really be innovative with zombies. I mean, after 10 years, that's a hell of a run. And I think the diehard fans, we're always gonna appreciate some aspects of it. We're gonna get together and talk about it, but there's just not a whole lot that they can do without Rick, without Michonne, without Jesus, without Connie. And I almost think that at this point, you're going to change the genre of kind of drama horror to science fiction. So let me ask this question. Based on the low scores, if Aaron or Father G would have died tonight, would it have been a better episode? If there was a shocking death in tonight's episode, would it have felt more like The Walking Dead? Leave your thoughts to that. Eric Beach says, Kills, from what you've seen so far, how does the series end? Who lives besides Daryl and Carol? Who dies? Do they assimilate in Commonwealth, and are they dead? Yes. All of the above. Okay. So I won't go too much into this because we could probably make this a kind of like a bold prediction. And look, everybody's going to be all over the board here. Daryl and Carol leave because they don't want to be a part of a bigger community. But I do think that the majority of the people, I think they're just going to, like, not literally, but figuratively in the world of TV and movies, I think they're going to cryogenically freeze them. I think they're going to just have them join the community and disappear until they figure out what they want to do with them. Now, I do think we're going to lose some of them along the way. I think this Pope is going to kill a few of them. Every year, the Rosita counter is definitely on. But some of these characters have to die off. Daryl and Carol leaves. I'm not going to argue what happens with Negan because, to each their own. But I do think the fact that it's not a coincidence that Ezekiel and Eugene are up there. They didn't just go up there to get taken captive, to get in a fight, and then leave. So, I mean, that'd be kind of silly, right? They've been traveling for 3-4 days, and then they just get taken hostage, and then they got to break away and go back and say, hey, guys, guess what? We were gone for a few weeks, and we met some people that we don't want to meet again, and that's the end of the story. No. I think that the purpose of them being there is to branch out, make ties with another community, and the majority of the people in Alexandria are going to have a better lifestyle until they figure out if they want to put them in the movie or put them in a mini-series or whatever. Daryl and Carol going off doing their own thing, that's a show that won't last. It will not last, because if last week was any type of preview of what the Daryl and Carol show is going to be, it's got about 2 or 3 good episodes. But yeah, Eric, that's what I think. I don't think we're going to get a mass exodus. I don't think we're not going to get a cure. Walking Dead still thinks that they can, fire the franchise back up, and maybe they can. But certainly there's a few people that might need a little bit of a break. Kitten, I think the Leah story is going to be mostly told by the end of the season. Keep in mind, we still have 3 more episodes, and we got a whole season to tell some story. So before we even get to the Daryl and Carol thing, that's 3 years away by the time they film it? So we have a lot of time. And season 11, I think, is going to be one of the best Walking Dead seasons ever, because there's going to be so much anticipation. All right. Hey, we're about, 45 minutes in? So we're going to wind it down. I think, like most of you, the extra hour might be weighing on us. So I just want to say it's good seeing a lot more faces. I know last week we're starting to see our regular group. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So big thank you to all of our Walking Dead fans. All that green team up there. I see Daryl. I see June, Animal, Valar. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Certainly, it is an absolute thrill to get together and talk about the Walking Dead show that brought a lot of us together. And again, I'd miss my opportunity if I didn't invite you guys and say, come hang out with us a couple nights. You don't have to play Dead Live if you think it is a first-person shooter, but you can certainly come, chill, talk, relax, roll a character. It is our social networking RPG. So tomorrow night we're going to recognize some people. I know a lot of you guys have been viewing. A lot of you guys have been watching the playback. But jump in, hang out with us, get your foot in the pool, roll a character, and we're here about 4 or 5 nights a week. We would just love to see some of our Walking Dead fans more than one night a week. So thanks to all of you guys for everything that you guys do. If you guys don't know what Play Dead Live is, then where have you been for the last year? So here is a quick little promo for next week's Play Dead Live. And if you guys can do me a favor, everybody type in 999. Let me do some shout outs while we're showing you a little bit of our game that we do behind the scenes. This is the Steamlands. Big shout out. Father Ron, Samantha Coombs, Rebecca Mendez, Daryl Stoltz. Thank you so much. Michael Carey, thank you. Matt, Shaman Sheila, Lynn Nesbitt, Tammy Eric Beach, Michelle M, thank you. I see you, Deborah. forget, we're going to see a lot of you guys, I think, tomorrow night.